Lord of the Rings. I finally did it. I finished the trilogy. It took me many, many years to actually sit down and watch all these movies because I've actually tried to watch The Fellowship once and it didn't work out. I think I was just too young to watch it, and I was like, I want to watch it. Everyone says it's great. And I turned it on and I was like, what? And I turned it off. And then I tried again. I was once again too young. Same thing happened. Now actually watching them, I'm old. I think I'm the right age to actually watch these, and they're fantastic. I finally got to The Return of the King. I think just after how much I loved Two Towers, it was like, yes, I want to watch Return of the King the very next day. In fact, I tried to do it last night, and I just couldn't do it. I was just too tired. I could not watch Return of the King. But I started it about 9 o'clock this morning. It's like 4 o'clock now, because it's just like, it is very long, and also I took like breaks in between, did other things. So, and yes, I got my doggy here for the video. So, I don't like this one better than Two Towers, and I don't like it better than The Fellowship. I think this is definitely the weakest of the trilogy, because here's the thing. I liked Two Towers more because there was more action, there was more happening, and there was more interesting character stuff too. So when you're like getting to Two Towers, that's done. All the character stuff is gone. It was done in Two Towers. Now it's just the climax to the story. So it is very long, and most of the movie's action. I mean, the point of the movie is that everyone's fighting on Middle Earth while Frodo and Sam and Gollum get to the mountain to destroy the ring. That's the whole point. That's the goal, right? And so in that, it's very good action and very well-paced action and well put together, and there is definitely some good character moments in between that, but it is just action for majority in the movie. And while it's not bad action, it's just like, there's, what I like about the other movie is the character stuff. But a lot of people have said, though, that these movies are just like one big movie. They're like that. And I agree with that. So, I mean, if I'm reviewing it as its own movie, I think it's fine. I think all the great aspects from the first movie, the music, the pacing, the acting, the cinematography, the effects are still there, and they're all fantastic. But it's just the weakest out of the trilogy. Not saying it's bad, it's just like, okay, compared to these other A+ movies, this is a weaker A+. It's like an A+, and then you get an A+-. It's like, what? I mean, is it bad? No, it's still good. You're still passing. You're still doing great. And that's what I like about Two Towers, and I think this is a good movie. But if you review this as a one continuous movie, it is one of the greatest movies ever made. And I think it works better if you talk about it as one movie, because if you really think about it this way, Fellowship works as its own movie. But once you get to Two Towers, it no longer works as its own movie. You need to get to Return of the King to fully get the story and conclude everything. So it does function better as if you were to review as one big movie. And so, like, the first act is the setup, and then the second act is the character stuff, and you learn about the characters some more, and then the third act is the climax, and it's just the action and the fighting and all that. And yeah, it works better, and you can see how it works better as one big movie. And I also think another problem with this is the 5 endings. Everyone's talked about how this movie has 5 endings. Why I think it's so distracting at the end is not because the moments themselves feel like the end of the movie. It's that the moments themselves in the movie are obscenely, like, they're a little too long. They don't need to be as long. I don't want to say obscenely long, but they're like, okay, did you really need to show this? This was already hinted at. This was already kind of, did you really need to show that? Did you really need to do this? It's for the wrap up for the characters, and I guess that's more of a problem in the extended edition than the actual version from what I hear. So I guess it's not that big of a deal, but why I think why that problem is there is just because it fades to black every time. And then the last time it fades to the black and it says the end. But like it keeps fading to black, so you keep thinking, oh, here's the end, here's the end. And it's like, okay, but this is not the end. But if this is the end, it's like just end it, you know? The way I would have done it is I would have trimmed it down a little bit and I would have stopped the fading to black. Because when it fades to black, that's what makes you think it's the end. It's not even the scene itself. It's a little bit of the music too, but it's like, it is the fade to black that really makes you think that, and it's distracting. But overall, I think these are all fantastic, great movies. And I don't, you know, I'm gonna do Hobbit. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do it like I did Return of the King and Two Towers. I watched the next one the next day. I really don't want to do that, and I probably will not do that. I think it's exciting and something I want to do. I want to watch all the Hobbits and be done with these movies, but I can't guarantee that right after this I'm gonna go watch the Hobbit, because the Hobbits, I've seen bits and pieces of all of them. I think I've seen Unexpected Journey all the way through. They're not good. And I've read the book of The Hobbit. So that's an experience that's different from these movies, is that I actually have not read the books. Of course, the Hobbit book is kind of an interesting book because it's been changed over time from Tolkien's original vision of the book. Like, it was more of a children's dark fantasy, and then it was changed and rewritten and stuff over time. But so it's no longer the original version of the book. Basically, but it's, you know, it still gets the main point across, and the Hobbit book is still, it's pretty good, but it's just like there's, you know, too much detail. But I've heard there's big changes in between the Hobbit book and the movie, and it's less apparent in the Lord of the Rings movies from what I hear. Like, I hear, like, in Desolation of Smaug, they put, like, Legolas in it. He's not even in that book, so we'll see. I'm excited to check it out, but overall, I was just like, you know, I'm done with Lord of the Rings, so I might just take a break from Lord of the Rings and be done with that and start watching some other movies. And then after I take my break, I'll get back to the Hobbits. But because I also have like a ton of other movies here I need to watch and shows and things, and I've kind of not been doing that because I've been watching Lord of the Rings. Right? It's fantastic, great, just, you know, very time consuming. These movies are like over 3 hours each. So, you know, and these are the extended versions, but even the non-extended versions aren't much shorter. So, make of that of what you will.